So this is straight from the next chapter, Art in the Making, Capturing the Mood of Milthorpe. And to begin with, I am mixing up some cerulean blue with the mud from my tray. You can see I haven't cleaned my tray in a while because these paintings always need plenty of mud to dull down the colors. A little too heavy with the paint right now, so I'm just going to keep adding water to it until it is thin and tea-like consistency. So with the blue, start with kind of a cool, and then I'm going to switch over more to my orange side and get some warm in there. And just keep that nice bead, keep my wash flowing. And you can see when I get towards areas where I want to have some sort of sharp edges and lines, I flip my brush upside down and use the point side to carve around things. You get a couple drips, just wipe them up, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to see that later. So I'm carving out all the little rooftops, and while this mix is still wet, I'm going to dash back into it with some of the darker colors. I'm going to create that sort of foggy, distant background look. So I'm using the red and the French ultramarine, some orange to make a dark purple, and that will be my dark. And these are just shapes of faraway rooftops. Just a backdrop for our little center stage here. Now I'm going to start pulling some of those purples into the houses, and I'm using my little spray bottle to spritz things and move the paint around a little bit more. So all these little shapes will create kind of a misty, foggy, faraway city look. And I'll even use my paper towel to blot out some of the extra smoke from the chimneys. So now this little mix with cerulean blue, it's a little bit too on the blue side for what I'm putting on this roof here, so I'm going to go back over that and gray it down a little bit more. So all these houses along here, these are going to be my high contrast area and focal point. So they will have some darker values. And also, I'm going to keep painting these things across, and I'll keep little gaps for where I need separation for you to see the different homes, but I'm also connecting them little bits here and there so that they're not totally separate. And I'm also going to keep the rooftops on the right side clear because that is the sunny side in this painting. And then this house is getting some light bounced onto it. So it's got kind of a sunny side on the left. So now I have a bristle brush and I'm just kind of scrubbing out a little bit more fog and smoke. And this helps add to that mood feeling. Everything nice and smoky. So these ones, as they get closer, they become darker, have a little more contrast. And then I just kind of soften those edges as I get towards the bottom. Now for the grass. So I have some cobalt green and I'm mixing that with some Chinese orange and quinacridone gold. And here and there a touch of red to dull down that green a bit, but mostly it's the gold and the cobalt green. And again, I'm trying to connect things and have some soft edges, and then I will skip some little holes by dragging the brush across, and I will use those little gaps to make some suggestions of detail in there. And I just used some water to blend the green into the side of the house there so we don't have a big hard edge. It's all soft and flowy. So as I'm pulling these grasses in, I'm going to spritz them with my little atomizer, and then I'll also dip my fingers in the water and flick some water at it, and that breaks up the pigments nicely and gives you all sorts of fun textures. I swipe on some dry brush next to that road. And I'm leaving gaps on purpose, but I don't want too many because it's grass, not water. So keeping lots of variation in here too. Mixing some darker greens and some more oranges and gold and dripping it. So this is when you really let it paint itself, just let the colors flow. And I usually am getting darker as I get closer to give it a sense of distance. And this is just flicking water at it. And you can see it's starting to break up the pigments, get those textures going. And blot off with my paper towel some areas where I just need to lighten it a little bit. So now we're coming in for our final layer of dark darks. And I just mixed up my purple and muddied it with a little bit of yellow to get it nice and dark. So this dark tree will make that rooftop pop out really nicely. And I'm using my smaller detail brush here just to get all these shapes nice. So get all those little shadows from the roofs. And put in your little windows and doors. This one is got the darkest face on it, and it is next to the road, which is almost white, so this is giving us a nice strong focal point. And I'll make just some little shapes here and there to give illusions of detail. Fences and farm equipment. So I just keep adding little bits of darks here and there as I'm going and softening it with water when it gets too harsh. Now I'm just kind of tying in this other side. And you can see I don't just use the point of my brush, I use every part of the brush and angle it in different ways so it'll do different kinds of scraping marks. And I just use that really sharp point on this brush for getting good edges and details where I need it. So I'm adding some little fences. And my little teeny tiny ant people. And then we got just a couple little cars on the side of the road here by the house. And once I put in some posts, I'll add some shadows, and then that's it for this one.